Welcome to this module on Clinical Research Coordinator responsibilities. In this lesson, we're going to look closely at what the CRC role really involves in practice. This is important because the coordinator role is one of the most active and operationally central roles in clinical research. A study may have a strong protocol, an experienced investigator, and a capable sponsor. But without effective coordination, the day-to-day conduct of the trial can quickly become disorganized. As we move through this module, I want you to think of the CRC not simply as an assistant to the study, but as one of the people helping to hold the entire research process together. That makes this role both highly practical and highly accountable. The clinical research coordinator plays a major role in the success of a clinical study. In many research settings, the CRC is involved in almost every operational aspect of the trial, from startup activities and documentation to participant visits, data handling, communication, and follow-up. At the same time, it is important to understand that research coordination is not always limited to the person with the formal title of CRC. Depending on the site, some of these responsibilities may also be carried out by the principal investigator, sub-investigators, research nurses, or research assistants. So when we talk about CRC responsibilities, we are often talking about a group of essential study tasks that must be done well, regardless of exactly who performs them. What matters most is that these tasks are carried out competently, consistently, and in a way that protects the integrity of the study. And above all, regardless of role or title, the protection of the human participants in the research must always remain the top priority. Every decision, every process, and every responsibility should ultimately support safe, ethical, and compliant research conduct. By the end of this module, you should be able to do three things clearly. First, you should be able to identify the types of tasks that are commonly handled by a clinical research coordinator. This includes understanding the broader pattern of coordination work that helps keep a trial functioning properly. Second, you should be able to recognize the key documents that support the conduct of clinical research. Documentation is a core part of how studies demonstrate compliance, accountability, participant safety, and data reliability. Third, you should understand where these study-related documents belong. Proper document storage is essential because research records need to be organized, secure, accessible to the right people, and maintained in the appropriate location. Knowing what to file, where to file it, and how to maintain those records is a major part of good coordination practice. The clinical research coordinator is involved in almost every phase of a clinical study. While the principal investigator holds overall responsibility for the trial, the day-to-day execution often depends heavily on the CRC. In practice, this means the coordinator is constantly managing moving parts, tracking timelines, organizing study visits, ensuring documentation is complete, and keeping communication flowing across the team. A useful way to think about the CRC role is as the operational center of the study. The protocol defines what should happen, but the CRC helps make sure that it actually happens correctly, at the right time and in the right way. Because of this, the CRC works very closely with the principal investigator. The PI provides clinical and scientific oversight, while the CRC supports the structure and execution that keeps the study functioning smoothly. A well-organized study team is essential for both efficiency and compliance. Each member of the team should have clearly defined responsibilities, and those responsibilities should not just be discussed. They should be formally documented. This ensures that everyone understands their role and that there is accountability for each task. Equally important is making sure that each team member is appropriately trained for the work they are assigned. In clinical research, it is not enough to delegate a task. There must also be documented evidence that the person performing that task is qualified and competent to do so. For example, if someone is responsible for obtaining informed consent, handling study drugs, or entering data into an electronic system, they must be trained specifically for those activities. Assigning tasks without proper training can introduce serious risks to both participant safety and data integrity. So strong team structure is not just about organization. It is about ensuring that the right people are doing the right tasks in the right way. Once roles are defined within the study team, they need to be formally documented, And this is where the delegation of authority log becomes essential. The delegation log is a core study document that clearly outlines who is responsible for each task within the trial. It includes all study personnel and specifies what each individual is authorized to do. This creates accountability and provides a clear structure for how the study is being conducted. In practice, this document is not just a formality. It is something that monitors, auditors, and regulatory bodies will review to ensure that tasks are being carried out by appropriately qualified individuals. If a task is performed by someone who is not listed or not trained, that can raise serious compliance concerns. So the delegation log serves both as an internal management tool and as external evidence that the study is being conducted in a controlled and compliant manner. At the heart of the CRC role are 4 key areas: organization, documentation, coordination, and compliance. Organization is what keeps the study on track. This includes managing schedules, tracking deadlines, and ensuring that all study activities happen when they are supposed to. Documentation is critical because in clinical research, if something is not documented properly, it is often treated as if it did not happen. Accurate and complete records are essential for demonstrating that the study was conducted correctly. Coordination involves managing communication between different parts of the study team: participants, investigators, sponsors, and regulatory bodies. The CRC often acts as the central point that connects all of these groups. And finally, compliance ensures that all study activities follow the protocol, regulatory requirements, and ethical standards. This is what protects both the integrity of the data and the safety of the participants. Beyond tasks and processes, there are certain characteristics that make a clinical research coordinator effective in their role. Being detail-oriented is essential because small errors in documentation, timing, or procedures can have significant consequences in a study. Attention to detail helps prevent those issues before they arise. At the same time, the CRC must be people-focused. You are working with participants, investigators, sponsors, and regulatory personnel, so strong communication and relationship management are key. The role is also highly task-driven. There are always multiple responsibilities happening at once, often with strict timelines, so the ability to prioritize and follow through is critical. Problem-solving is another important trait. Challenges will come up: missed visits, unexpected findings, protocol questions, and the CRC needs to be resourceful in addressing them. Finally, being conscientious and highly organized ties everything together. This means consistently adhering to protocols, maintaining accurate records, and following up on tasks until they are fully completed. These characteristics are what turn a coordinator from someone who simply performs tasks into someone who truly supports the success of the study. As we bring this module to a close, it's important to step back and look at how all of these elements come together in practice. At its core, clinical research depends on strong coordination. Without it, even well-designed studies can struggle with delays, inconsistencies, or errors. The CRC plays a central role in preventing that by keeping activities organized, ensuring tasks are completed correctly, and maintaining clear communication across the team. At the same time, it's important to recognize that the exact scope of CRC responsibilities can vary from one site to another. Depending on the size of the team, available resources, and study complexity, certain tasks may be shared across different roles. What remains consistent, however, is the need for those responsibilities to be clearly defined, properly assigned, and competently carried out. Structure and accountability, supported through tools like the delegation of authority log and proper training, ensures that every task is performed by the right person in the right way. This is essential for maintaining compliance with both protocol requirements and regulatory expectations. And throughout all of this, one principle remains constant: participant safety. Every responsibility, every decision, and every process in clinical research should ultimately support the protection and well-being of the individuals who take part in the study. As you move forward, keep in mind that the strength of a study is not just in its design, but in how well it is executed. And that execution is where the CRC makes a meaningful impact. Thank you for watching. If you found this video useful, consider subscribing to Resplain on YouTube and give this video a thumbs up.